Boy, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Monday Mashup with High Top Sports. Good to see you, happy to have you. What a fantastic week of college football. If you ask FSU fans, Florida State's going 12-0, boys and girls. They look good, they look exciting. Miami fans are talking greasy on the timeline, as they should. They had some exciting things to talk about. Arch Manning, overrated, or just Matt Patricia, just the greatest defensive coordinator of all time? Depends on who you ask. Hugh Freeze, not so frozen anymore, boys and girls. Off the hot seat, but DeBoer, woo-wee! That thing is turning on up. And LSU, Brian Kelly, shakes the old monkey off his back of not being able to get it done week one, gets it done. This show is, of course, brought to you by Prize Picks. We'll talk about them and my favorite picks later on in the show. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we bring in our co-host for the evening, Cody the Professor. Gators by a milli. The whiteboard is here to stay, and Cowboy Ty is ready to rock. Where you at, Ty? He's not here.
Where am I at? Right here, baby.
There he is.
Yeah!
You're back?
Back, baby. We're back.
Hey, congratulations to FSU. You have now eclipsed half of your wins from last year.
Well, the good news is me and Shelton had a bet that we won six. We had to win over 6 games, or I had to be a Texas fan. So I don't know if Texas might win 9. Now might win 6 games. I don't know. We'll see. I'm back, baby. We're back. I'm going to be an FSU fan for life. I don't even have to make that bet anymore.
That's true. Great start to the week for you guys, or for the season, I should say, for you guys. And yeah, I think that you'll be fine. That you don't have to switch any teams as of now. Look, still a long way to go, but hell of a start. To say the least. Let's get our morning coffee in. We're actually shooting this in the morning for the first time, which is kind of exciting. On
as you can see, we're all getting our caffeine in. I mean,
yeah, that's what it is. That's life after 30 anymore. That's how you survive, boys. That's how you survive. Well, look, let's talk about it, man. Let's get into the first order of business, the biggest one of all. The Noles absolutely get it done. I'm gonna let you go first, Ty. To be honest with you, because
man.
Man. I mean, there's so many great things. Get after it.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many good things. So when we talked earlier in this year, I said that this Gus Malzahn and Thomas Castellanos, he are made for each other. Those 100% two are a match made in heaven, and they ran that offense to an absolute T. Some people are made to be head coaches, and some people are made to be coordinators. And Malzahn is made to be a coordinator because he called a perfect football game against Alabama. We only threw the ball 14 times. We ran the ball down their throat. We won up front on both sides of the football. And that's the difference that I didn't expect. I thought the offense was made for him. I thought we could compete, but I didn't expect to win like we did. If you take that first drive away from Alabama, they did absolutely nothing the whole football game. They looked lost, in all truthfulness. They were getting beat. They couldn't do anything. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I thought we were going to go in there and roll Alabama, or Alabama was going to come get rolled. But what I said was all the things that happened. The offense, it was run so perfectly. They didn't make any mistakes. The only mistake they made was on a punt. It was a special teams, and Lucas didn't get away from the football and hit him. And I thought maybe that might change, but that didn't change. So we sit back. They didn't make any mistakes. Castellanos absolutely threw dots when he needed to. He only completed 9 balls, but he took off when he was supposed to. He ran the offense perfectly. He hit Jalen Lucas on a big play, hit Squirrel White on a big play, another transfer out of Tennessee who I really love for make big plays this year. And the team just looked juiced. They looked like they were ready to be old Florida State again. That offensive line was pieced together through the portal, and it looks like they did it again, boys. They nailed the portal again. We might go 13-0 this year.
Oh, he's fired up. Look, man, I gotta eat my words a little bit. I'm kind of ticked because before last week, our last show where I throttled FSU, I was leaning towards that FSU camp on a possible upset because of the Gus Malzahn, because of Thomas Castellanos. I felt that he would fit into that system well, and it's annoying to guard. It's hard to guard, and when it gets rolling like it did, it's tough. But that wasn't the part. Like I expected that. Right? Like that, I could see what they did happening. What I didn't see happening was the domination on the other side of the ball. You're 100% right that it's like they took a year off, but it looked exactly like it did with that Jordan Travis running the show. which where that FSU team was great with Jordan Travis, right? Had a great run team, but defensively they're an absolute fit to handle. They play with passion. They were absolutely leveling with everybody. Now, here's where a lot of Florida fans are going to go. Well, Bama sucked. Bama did suck. Both things can be true. Where FSU found a little bit of a rhythm, found their swagger back a little bit, and Bama just ain't Bama no more. All right, both can be true, and that's in my case. That's I think what happened here. Ty Simpson wasn't the problem. We'll kind of transfer into Bama here in just a little bit. But I think the speed that you guys have, you guys are going to give a lot of teams some fits this year. I know some people say, hey, well, your quarterback can't throw. Go watch the games this past weekend. There wasn't too many quarterbacks that were throwing, boys and girls, so it might be a year where we're just veering it up and we're handing it off. And if there's a team that's probably going to be the best at it, I think you might have saw it on Saturday in FSU. Thomas Castellano
pulled it.
pulled it.
Pocket for me. The clean pocket that he had. That's why he could throw the ball the way he did. And when you give him that pocket, he's going to make plays.
Correct. Look, I'm excited for Florida, this Florida matchup. I think Florida's done a great job of addressing this issue. That they got great linebacker speed. This game's far, far and away. We'll get a tease of it next week with USF. So we'll see how we handle this mobile quarterback. Auburn's going to throw that at you. It looks like Georgia's going to be throwing that at you with Gunnar Stockton. He was running a little bit of that old Tebow-esque style of offense, not as smooth and as quick as what FSU brought you, more of kind of punch you in the face. But man, you've been talking about Jalen Lucas. Jalen Lucas was an absolute fit. School fit was fantastic. And then you had Deuce Robinson picking up some big ones. I got to eat my words. I was throttling them. I was questioning culture. I was questioning if they could do so many different things. And they flipped the switch. And this is what the portal does. I said it after the I don't remember what game it was, but I go, look, man, this is why there was so much parity this past weekend, because the portal can ruin a team like it did for FSU last year, but then in the same breath, give it resurgence in just a matter of time. Cody, what were your thoughts, big fella?
Well, welcome to the year of the super veer. Don't worry, you don't need to throw the ball vertically. You just run the super veer, and you're good to go. You can pretty much take on anybody in the top 15, top 20. Hey, heck of a game for FSU. I will say that they absolutely just punched Alabama in the mouth. By the third quarter, Bama didn't want anything left. There are videos circulating about the lack of effort and how this DeBoer team is soft and has no grit. I kind of got to agree. I think that if I'm a Bama fan, I think I'm looking elsewhere for a coach, and I said that Auburn might be the first Power 5 head coach gone. There's a possibility they just go and fire DeBoer this year.
Yeah, we had a lot of hot takes that went cold very quickly after this past weekend, and we're going to get into that Auburn game. But man, Kalen DeBoer and Alabama, how the mighty have fallen very quickly. We had a Miami guy call in yesterday after the Miami Notre Dame game, and he kind of nailed it on the head, man. Saban saw the writing on the wall and got up out of town pretty quickly with this new NIL era, and it definitely has created a lot of parity in college football, which is the initial thought, which is what we are all excited for. And man, the state of Florida looks like it's going to find some rhythm this year and be a legitimate threat from everybody. Everybody looked fantastic. I know the only team that didn't play anybody was Florida, but if you watch the game and understand what they were able to do, they did everything right. What they were to a very elite level, which I was very proud of. Again, we still got a lot to show. I don't feel like we can sit here and boast around like you guys are able to, but I'm ecstatic for what we were able to go do for what the challenge that we were given. I had different challenges for us. It wasn't a scoreboard challenge. It was everything else, and we nailed it on the head. But Miami, which we'll get into a little bit later on, was great as well. But yeah, I mean, Ty Simpson wasn't an issue to me, though. I felt like he came in, slanged the ball very well. And I think it was play calling, not giving him the opportunity. There's a bigger issue with Alabama. Like you can go look at Texas and maybe point it to one guy in particular, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But this was not a Ty Simpson issue. This was an everything issue.
Yeah, they can't run the ball.
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination of both. That's my opinion. You're right. They couldn't run the football, and when you can't run the football, it does make it tough on your quarterback. But there was times where Ty Simpson could have made a play with his legs and then threw it, and then there was a time he could have threw it and he tried to make a play with his legs. He just didn't. To me, he didn't flow well. the Florida State defense flew around, though. I will give them credit. I wanted them to jump up. So at the beginning of the game, we were playing off of them, and I didn't like it. I said, get in their face. Like, you're an underdog. Go punch them in the mouth. Get in their face. So they were giving a little easy throws. And then later on in the game, you saw them just push up just a little bit, and they saw that they didn't have to sit back in the zone. In the comments, somebody said Earl Little Jr.'s dog, and that guy is an absolute dog, just like his dad. Earl Little was flying around, hitting people in the mouth. He didn't care if you were 250 or you were 195. He was going to hit you the exact same. And Earl Little Jr. was making plays. That whole team. I mean, Alabama to me, but get back to them. Earl Little, man. Alabama. I'm still on Earl Little. He played so well. But Alabama, man, they have question marks. There was times where Ty Simpson had protection and he still got hit because he held on the ball too long. It's just there's a combination that just isn't working the way they haven't found anything. I don't know, man. They're in trouble. I don't see them making the playoff. And on Florida State side, I mean, you look at our schedule, like Florida and Miami, Clemson, like those are the games you got to circle. I just don't see if the way we went up front, we have issues with anyone else. I'm sure there'll be a game along the way where we do, that's who knows, like Pitt, like you said, they give us issue every once in a while. But overall, I think we're circling those 3 games. And if we can win one, I think we're going to make the playoff.
Yeah, I like FSU for the AC Championship. I think that Miami game will be an interesting one. I think trench-wise, they looked pretty good last night, but they showed their weaknesses were exposed, I think, a little bit towards the end there. I don't think they'd be able to handle Thomas Castellano, to be quite honest with you. I think he's going to run all over that defense.
He talked it and walked it, and for that, I respect him because I said, oh, boy, don't do that. Don't do that.
We talked about it on this show a handful of times. I as much as I gave him shit for it, and in the same breath, we came back like a week later, I go, look, you really got nothing to lose, to be quite honest with you. And the part that he was right on is like, this isn't the same as Saban's Bama anymore. And we definitely got caught up in it. As much as we say we didn't want to get caught up in it, we did. And here's the other part of it too, where I started to realize this past week in these talking heads, right? The big dogs, the Cranes, the Pates, and I love Jay Crane. There's nothing against these guys. But the Pates and everybody else, they just be feeding us nonsense at this point. And I kind of bought into it a little bit too, but you picked Alabama to win the national championship. I knew damn well the bitches weren't going to win the national championship. Like, what are we doing? Like, that is just asinine to me.
What are they watching?
That was a blind pick of like, yeah, this was what we used to just feel comfortable with. Like, that just shows like where the league has been, that nobody feels comfortable going out there and picking Penn State. Like, how do you not feel comfortable picking Penn State at the beginning of the year? Look, I think things can change.
Research anybody anymore? Do they research anybody anymore? Do they look at this stuff?
But listen, when DeBoer got there, I remember when DeBoer got there. If DeBoer goes anywhere else after Washington, the blowjob that this man received would not be the same. Okay, I'm looking around. I go, dude, maybe I don't have a clue. Like, these guys are pulling up stats. Like, yeah, when he was at Sacramento State Community College, he went 45-0. Okay, he didn't lose a single game. Like, they play this thing off like he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, they were just like making him in a lab to be the greatest thing ever. And I was like, guys, I don't know what we're looking at here, but I'm not like just completely sold on this cat just yet. But all right, like, you guys are saying it. You guys been watching ball for 20 plus years. Like, it must be true. What I realized this past weekend is like everybody's in bed with everybody and nobody wants to be the bad guy. And this is where I give Uncle Lou mad respect, because he's not afraid to just absolutely just body you, regardless of who you are. He's constantly calling Josh Pate a doofus. Look, I got nothing against Josh. I don't care about anybody, but I need people to hold themselves accountable and get better takes. And we got to get away from being friends with everybody. If we see someone sitting down with a coach, I feel like your opinion's going to be a little bit persuaded, because I get it. You sit down, you talk to the guy, you have a natural soft spot to want to cheer for him. That's where we're at in this world. It's almost better to stay away from it. We got too much crossplay going on. We can't get real opinions anymore. Cody?
Well, I'll say this. I see 7 losses on their schedule. They got Georgia and then Vandy back-to-back coming up after 2-week cupcake.
Look, we laugh.
Watch out.
You don't say Vandy lightly anymore. He's not wrong.
I know.
They're running the Super Veer. They can't stop it. They ain't stopped it in 2 years. Caleb DeBoer can't figure it out. What are we doing? They're going to lose. Every running quarterback, they're going to lose. And then John Mateer from Oklahoma is going to dot them up for 450 yards because their secondary is terrible.
Oklahoma-Michigan play this weekend, which is going to be fun. We'll have that preview show on Thursday. But
what they saying, remember the Titans split veer? It's like Novocaine. Give it time. It always works, baby.
Yeah. On 5 plays.
I love it. 120 strong, boys, on this beautiful Monday morning. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. That's a great recap there at FSU and Alabama. Look, here's the one thing I want to know before we continue to move on. Week 1's going to have a lot of overreactions. The same way we had incredible hot takes preseason and everybody was talking greasy, talking dirty. Everybody was going 12-0. The same thing happens the first couple of weeks of college football. Massive overcorrection, massive overreaction. And speaking of overrated, Arch Manning this past weekend, woo-wee, was not your hottest, not your brightest. Paul Feinbaum is reaching for something, and it's probably a tissue because my man is somebody else who I didn't mention in that rant of just egregious and outlandish takes.
He's a hater.
That Arch Manning was going to be the greatest quarterback since Tim freaking Tebow. This guy can't even play with John Brantley at this rate. Okay, we're Tim Tebow. It was a tough one. It was a tough one. I'm not going to look overreaction, right? I'm not going to go out on this hill that Arch Manning is overrated. But I also wasn't standing on the same hill saying that he was a top 5 quarterback in the SEC. I don't think either of us, none of us had him in our top 5 quarterbacks for SEC. I didn't have enough to make me feel or believe that he was a top 5 or even just a top quarterback in the SEC. If he was, we probably would have seen a little bit more than just one time against UTSA last year. When we had a big playoff run, nobody heard from Arch. Nobody was there. The game went exactly as we talked, as we discussed in multiple breakdowns for this game. It was a rock fight. There was no question that it was going to be that. Their strengths were for both teams were their defenses. I picked Texas because I thought the junior quarterback and Arch Manning that's been growing, that was once a perfect rated quarterback, would have a more successful game 1 than Julian Sayin. I thought that Sark would have a better game plan to be able to overcome some of these things that Matt Patricia and Ryan Day would throw at him. I was wrong. Maybe they did have a plan. Maybe they did. Maybe Arch just wasn't what we all expected, and maybe even what Sark expected him to be as well either. Look, Matt Patricia threw some nasty things at him. I know that Cody's going to get all rant and raving about this because ESPN put this whole spiel that it wasn't Arch's fault. Bull crap, I agree with you. You're going into your 3rd year, kid. You got to be, you're supposed to be a 1st-round draft pick. That was what everybody had you projected as. If you can't handle a Matt Patricia defense that got ran out of town, the guy was great 10 years ago, then you're going to have some issues. As for Ohio State, this team, in my opinion, we'll wait for Ohio State. No, we'll go Ohio State. We'll kind of go back and forth here. Looks good. Very similar to 2 years ago. They lost this aura they had from last year with that Chip Kelly offense where they were more explosive. Jeremiah Smith was very quiet. I will say that. It felt very similar to the old Ohio State, which is fine. They win football games, but will they be as dominant as they were last year? No, but that was an incredible team. They can take a step back and still be very effective, and more than likely we will see Ohio State in the playoffs. But I don't think Julian Sayin was truly tested either, even with that Texas defense. Cody's just ready to eat the microphone. We got to let this guy go first.
Yeah, I even see some apologists in the chat. I can't do it. I can't. You're supposed to be football Jesus. You are supposed to be the Messiah. You are supposed to be perfect. And I think the old ball coach hit it on the head last year. If Arch Manning's so good, why is Quinn Ewers playing? Well, that's why. Hello, he sucks. And for everybody saying, "Oh, well, it was a tough defense at Ohio State and Matt Patricia." Guys, that's why we're not saying he sucks because they put on a defensive clinic. He was missing regular throws and clean pockets. It was high, it was low, it was left, it was right, it was everything but on target with a clean pocket because his footwork's terrible. The Manning Passing Academy. You know who else went to the Manning Passing Academy? Daniel Jones, and he sucks too. I'm so tired of the apologists because Eli, which threw a bunch of picks in the NFL and in at Ole Miss, and then Peyton, who won 1 Super Bowl with a very good team, gets this mystique of or aura Two,
Okay, continue.
gets this mystique or aura like they're the greatest thing since freaking sliced bread. It's terrible. Nobody out of the Manning passing academy does anything. They're terrible.
Little hate. I mean, I feel like Eli and Peyton got some unnecessary, swipes there. But Ty,
No, you're supposed to be the Messiah.
Cody, it's my turn. Listen, I got the black Texas hat on, and it was for a reason, because there was a black cloud over his head all day long. I'm not ready to call him overrated, but man, did he miss some easy ones. Like you said, Cody, he was in the pocket. He didn't have good footwork. He missed a lot of easy throws. Down that stretch when they made it 14-7, they got the ball, and it was like 3rd and 5, and he has Wingo running right across wide open across the middle. Instead of making an easy throw, he tries to throw a sidearm throw through an easy window. I didn't understand it. He threw it way behind him. It was an incomplete ball, and he was doing it all day. It wasn't the Matt Patricia defense that was making him look bad. Both defenses are good. It was the easy throws for me where he was throwing dirt balls and throwing it over the head of people and just missing behind receivers. They couldn't catch and run with the football. It's a lot of the easy stuff for me that bothered me. And I'm going to tell you, if he don't figure it out, it might be bust potential. I don't think he has the same heart as his uncles. I just don't see it. I wasn't impressed by either team. I knew it would be a defensive battle, but it's both their first starts in a true situation, like top 5 teams. But I'm not convinced. I need to see it because he didn't look it. He just did not look the part.
I got a lot of flack from Texas fans there in my comments saying I can't wait to go back and comment on those things. I am beyond ecstatic to chirp them a little bit because when we made our video talking about this Texas team, we were going off of inside information from camps, their concerns. What the concerns were running back room and offensive line, which, again, very young. And that was, I think, an issue for Texas on Saturday as well, too. Look, in the same breath that Arch was making bad throws, I felt like he was pressured a lot. Happy feet came into play. You're going up against a top-tier defense in Ohio State. We talked about this defense. We knew they were going to be fantastic. Even with the departure to the NFL, they continue to reload and revamp, and we expected that to be there. I think they did do a great job by going out and getting Matt Patricia so they don't take a massive step back in that defensive scheme for him. Offensively, though, I still got questions. I think if Texas was unable to really do anything offensively to force Ohio State to have to do anything. So I won't make a full prediction on how I think Ohio State can run it because they didn't have to do too much with Julian Saint in that offense. But Jeremiah Smith was much more quieter than I thought he would be. Again, I want to say this too, an expectation for a lot of these quarterbacks, right, is part of, it's not necessarily their fault. It's everyone else. It's us included because we hype up these kids, and a lot of them are first, second-year dudes, and we talk as if they're third and fourth-year dudes. Garrett Nussmeier's in his 5th year. Cade Klubnik's in his 5th year. Thomas Castellanos in his 5th year. Look at the quarterbacks that had great games or just looked the sharpest. Carson Beck is in his 5th year. That looked the sharpest and the smoothest this past Saturday. They're the oldest cats on the football field for good reason. Everyone else is extremely young. Lenore Sellers was right in the middle, and he was right there. I mean, he had points where he showed kind of that more maturity than others. Kind of started off slow, but then really kind of took off towards the end there. He's the oldest of the bunch. All these other guys, DJ, Arch, Julian Sayin, Austin Simmons, John Mateer, another one who looked really good. He's in his 5th year, right? There's just these massive gaps, and we have such high expectations for these kids. I've been saying this forever. We force these quarterbacks too quickly out of this league because if they're not good in year 1 or year 1.5, it's like they're a bust. They suck. Arch should be much better than what he is. Let's not get it twisted. My reason for that rant is that there's a lot of teams that probably didn't look as sharp or as in tune as we all expected them to be, but all of them have one key component, and it's a very young quarterback. That's going to take some time. And I think these guys will settle in and be good to go. And I think we're in for a phenomenal college football season that I cannot wait for. But I'm not gonna call the Arch overrated yet. Do we have any hot takes on Arch, or what do we think?
You need to see more, man.
Okay.
I'm not ready to, it is at Ohio State. It's in the Horseshoe in a big spot. It's the first. I mean, come on. Like, I'm not ready.
Agreed.
You can't give him a game and then say, oh, but he did miss easy ones. And that's alarming to me, is the easy throws that he missed from inside the pocket. He had him moving, and he'd have guys and he'd throw dirt balls at their feet. Honestly, the best young quarterback to me was Lenore Sellers. He started off struggling, but he found it deep. And man, he hit Nick Harbor on a dot down the seam. I was like, wow, this kid is starting to grow. And that's dangerous for everyone when he starts to grow, because he is an athlete from all hell.
Gunner looked good against Marshall. He looked like he had a lot of control over that offense, and it looked like what I liked from a Gunner Stockton. I know it's Marshall, but again, like, this is what I hate, is like, oh, they played so-and-so. Guys, we're looking for small nuances. This is going to be his first year running this offense. How did he look? Did he look comfortable? Did it look like Kirby trusted him? That's what it looked like to me, that he looked like he was having fun back there. That's something Carson did not look like last year, that Carson looked like on Saturday, that he was having fun playing football. But we'll get into Carson here in just a minute. Somebody asked if Ty was insufferable when FSU won. No, this is why I love Ty. Probably one of the best FSU fans that I know. He was in our chat chirping and saying, look at Thomas, but not insufferable. Like, he had he wasn't, honestly, I'm probably worse if it was the other way around, but he was just doing what I expect him to do. Holly is a little punk, because me and Holly talked prior to the game, and he picked FSU to lose, and then I kind of chirped him a little bit, and then in typical Holly fashion, doesn't respond to me. And then, of course, they win, and then he wants to come back and chirp. It's like, you picked them to lose, too. At least Ty picked Florida State to win. So, if I had to pick one who's more insufferable, it's Holly all day long, because Holly won't say anything until they win. I like a guy that at least owns it back and forth. Ty is right there with me.
Oh, I'll own it, buddy. Don't you worry. I'm not perfect by any stretch. I'll own it, but I'll let you know when I get one too.
Look, I was egregiously wrong this weekend in so many areas, and it was refreshing. I was like, man, we got our teeth kicked in on some of our picks and some of our analysis, but this just kind of shows you where college football is. It's not predictable, and I think that's what makes it exciting. People are so afraid of being wrong and not being able to talk about when they're not right. I'm okay. Look, the only thing that I know my weakness, it's talking about Florida and trying to have a non-biased opinion about it. I know that. Everyone else, though, I can have a healthy dialogue about it and be good. It's tough when you believe that orange and blue to just take a step back. Jeremy, $2 says, morning, boys. Here's for $2 for the iPad. We had a whole thing yesterday. Cody's our iPad kid now. So
Cody's on the sidelines doing what they do. The quarterbacks looking at the iPad.
Similar.
Yeah. Similar. I'll say this. The only good thing that might save Texas this season is they got a 1-2 punch at running back, and I could see a Texas team that just runs it 70, 80 plays a game, just run the ball. And people are going to stack the box, and it's going to be on that Texas O-line to get to the second level and create some space. But, I mean, Baxter and Windsor?
Wisner?
Wisner.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are top-tier elite of the elite. And Texas always has good backs, but I don't know. You can get coached up, but I don't see a quarterback making that big of a growth in 1 week. I mean, he was missing wide open passes.
He'll find some confidence next week, though. He'll find some confidence next week. Let's wait. Look, I'm pumped for Texas coming on to Florida, though. I'll tell you that. Feeling pretty good about that one now, boys. Look, here's the thing, too. Here's like with watching that game, because people always ask, like, hey, what's a game for Florida that's most important? I kept saying it was that one. And it's still important. I'm not trying to say that it's not. But with how Miami looked and how the state of Florida looks, the people that picked Miami, I feel like we're more right as of now. And that's just because of where the landscape has changed, right? Because coming into this, Texas is number one. They've won a couple of recruits from us. So, and I still think that, again, it's still an important game. But Miami, again, I think how the state of Florida is looking, we're kind of putting on a notice of like, y'all need to stay here, and y'all being the recruits in the state of Florida. And the battle could all of a sudden become an internal battle once again. And so that game all of a sudden has ramped up to be a lot more important than what it once was. Let's talk about this, boys. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Boys and girls, we got Thursday Night Football, and I decided to dial me up a little lineup here for the boys, okay? We get the freebie here that Prize Picks always gives you, which gives you the over 1 touchdown from Dak Prescott. I want to say I have him in one of my fantasy leagues. I could, maybe I don't, maybe I do. I don't remember. I like the George Pickens edition. I went with him for the over. Saquon at least getting a touchdown. You know the guy is a touchdown machine. And then, of course, we've got our guy, Jalen Hurts, to have more than 217 passing yards. Jalen Hurts, I think he'll do some fantastic things. Prize Pick is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 players. Stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. And Prize Picks also offers injury reboots if one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return. Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Download the app today and use the code HIGHTOP to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineups. That's code HIGHTOP to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Boys and girls, go download the app today and use the code HIGHTOP. All right, boys, let's move on to LSU. That was another fantastic game that we all thought it would be. Again, the games all lived up to their expectations this week, in my opinion. Even the Baylor-Auburn game did. That was a fun one, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. A lot of people are saying that LSU is the number 1 team in the country. And it's tough because, again, these are those overreactions in week 1. But when you have the expectations and the rankings and what people thought Clemson could be, should be, and I still think will be, and LSU did a great job of going into a hostile environment, the Temu version of Death Valley, handling it and winning it big in a close one. What Brian Kelly has not been able to do in his first 3 years at LSU, he was finally able to get over the hump, and an experienced quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier, who we've had, accounted for as our top quarterback in the SEC. He didn't look fantastic. I think that defense found a click that they've been struggling. Right? I mean, LSU that was what we kind of criticized Kelly for, was not having enough heart, not being hard, not just having that grit in them and flying around. They looked tremendously better. And I don't think Clemson's defensive line got to Garrett and really disrupted him like I thought they would. Is that a Clemson's issue? Is that a LSU's O-line really being ramped up? I don't know, right? Because we were high on Clemson's defensive line because of what they did last year and what they brought back. Could they have just not been on their A game that night? Well, there's a lot of unknown. We heard Brian Kelly saying this is his best offensive line he's had. Was it coach talk? Didn't look like that on Saturday night. That's what I'll tell you. But they just looked like a very complete football team in a hard-nosed fought game against another great team. I think Cade and Garrett looked very good, very poised. They had their issues, as every quarterback did this weekend, but I think they're still 2 of the best in just simply having poise in the pocket, putting a good spin on the ball, and carrying their offense. But I don't think Clemson's not. Look, I said this before the game. I'm going to say it now. This game was more of an ego battle. This game was more of like, hey, who can ride off this high from it? LSU needed it more than Clemson because they've got Florida in 2 weeks, right? So they needed to have probably a big W here. But in the sense of it impacting their schedule, it was irrelevant, right? And I knew that, but it was still a good game and a good place for rock and roll. And yeah, Jack Pyburn, man, I watched that game and I kept kind of going back and forth. Did not see a lot of Jack out there. He did not play as, again, for those that are following, obviously he leaves Florida we assume to go play more, and I didn't see a lot of him. He was out there, but wasn't as scary as maybe we thought he would be. Cody, thoughts on this game, big fella?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? It was a little laggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack Pyburn did not look great. I will say this: LSU is very susceptible to lose.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about Garrett Nussmeier making the schedule, like the entire season, because he came up kind of gimpy towards the end. I think on that right leg, and so and then also thing. We heard him practice. Yeah, we heard him practice. He had gotten hurt, and I just wonder if he's going to make it, because I don't think they have anything behind him. They did run the ball better with Durham. Durham's a heck of a back. The defense, finally, after we've been screaming for 2 years, they finally figured out what to do with Harold Perkins. They rolled him back to where he should be.
Electric.
And he made play after play after play after play. He can take a game over. I'm going to say this, though. LSU, very susceptible. Are they the number one team in the country? I think you got to crown them right now because they looked through and through the best. I mean, the offense was clicking. They were able to throw a vertical pass. They're not running the super veer. The defense at times stood up when they needed to. I think maybe that Clemson might have been a little bit overhyped. Truthfully, I thought that this defensive line was absolutely going to eat up Nussmeier, and that just didn't happen. I mean, they hit him a little bit, but when Nussmeier needed to drop back and throw a dot across the middle, boy, he did, and he's one of the best in the country with those middle crossers, 30 yards and in. 30 yards and in across the middle. Watch out, there's nobody better.
Let's do a quick little exercise with this whole number one team in the country. If you take away preseason rankings, which is tough. This is what we hate preseason rankings, but they do help gauge. Because if you don't have a preseason ranking and you're just putting team against team, then we are naturally, organically, you're going to, because again, LSU versus Bama. If there's no preseason rankings, then you would just argue Bama sucks. And then now it doesn't have any value to that win. Does that make sense? But it's Alabama. So you have to we're naturally going to put like, well, it's Alabama. They have the number one rated talented team. So that's why the preseason rankings matter for these conversations of like, who is number one? You can't really have a true ranking until probably 5 or 6 weeks in anyways. We know that as well too. But as what we saw is who they went up against, who is your, again, I hate to say number one because Penn State didn't play anybody. These guys didn't do anything, but who was the best looking? Man, I mean, LSU looked great or looked good. I don't know if they looked great. Definitely susceptible to beating. I don't think anybody looked unbeatable. Look, for a clean game and sharp and just dialed in, I got to go with FSU. Like, it kills me. Like, this is like, look, like, no, I'm not number one. Then this is why I hate it because it's such an egregious jump. But the problem is because they were unrated. If they were 15 and they won that game, you would have a different appeal on them. But it's because it's like, oh, they went 2-10 last year. Well, you can't say preseason rankings don't matter and then say that, hey, what did they do last year? Because that's how they utilize some of these rankings is like how they finished, what team is coming into this thing. The problem is that this 2-10 team is nowhere near the same. It's a complete 180 of a football team. You have a new defensive coordinator. You got a new offense. It's a whole new team. And they looked really good. They looked sharp against what was supposed to be a national champion football team. Like, I hate to say it, but like, and I'm going to get a lot of flack as a Gator fan, but like, they looked really, really good. I'm not saying that you still can't beat them. They definitely are one-sided. But when Thomas Castellanos needed to slang that thing, he slanged that thing. And they're able to run the ball. And again, what was more impressive to me was the fly-around speed on defense. That was impressive to me, and that was what got me. And I've seen Mike Norvell go 13-0 when he has a team that looks like this. I ain't seen Brian Kelly do shit since he's been here. And he's had better-looking teams. So I'm not buying the LSU nonsense. Hate me for it. I can eat my words, and I hope I'm wrong about it. I hope that I'm in 2 weeks ago, I'm an idiot. FSU dog water, all right? And I overreacted. That was my overreach for week one.
This is definitely not an overreaction.
I don't think it will be. I think they're going to steamroll. I think they're going to steamroll the ACC. And I freaking hate it.
Can I ask you this? Can I ask you this?
No.
Who's the best team? Who's the best team in Florida?
No, it's Florida Gators.
But,
I'm not gonna get crazy with it.
I'm
not senile. You know.
Well, the great part is we get to use it on the field this year because we play Miami, you play Miami, we play Florida. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, look, I don't have to answer it. It'll be answered on the football field, 100%. And look, but for me, again, I know people are gonna give me flack for this, but like right now, I feel very confident in this Florida football team. Like, I think Florida goes in, and I'm not, look, as much as I hate, like, playing that style of offense last year, I'm like, we're going to be in shambles. We're going to be, like, people have trouble with that style of offense. I believe that we have the speed in the edge room and in the linebacker room to give Thomas Castellanos fits. He's not perfect. There's a reason he got benched at Boston College. We can get to Thomas Castellanos. Like, you guys aren't an absolute just powerhouse. That I'm not concerned about either. I need to see us improve. I went back and watched our game last night. I got some thoughts on that on our offensive line, which I'm excited to talk about. But I'm very excited where Florida is, and I feel very confident in who we are. But all I got was a small sample size from all three of these teams. FSU was beyond light years of where I expected them to be, and then some. But I'm not intimidated to play them by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to be a much harder game than I originally anticipated. But no team, which was the satisfying part for me this past weekend, scared me at all. I mean, honestly, Georgia looked really good. Georgia looked a lot better than I thought they would. They're running that. Stockton's running this offense in a very unique way, a non-Georgia way that I haven't seen before. And they've also got some wide receiver talent that they haven't had in years past. So, look, the schedule as we know it was a gauntlet. It may have just became one of the hardest schedules of all time.
Well, talking about his LSU game, Garrett Nussmeier, who I think is the best quarterback in the country, he proved it. That's a tough game that he played in, and I'm going to tell you that touchdown pass that he threw might have been the best throw you'll see all year because he threw it over the corner, in between the safety, threw it to the outside shoulder, and it hit him right in the only spot he could catch it. It was probably the best throw of the week, honestly. And like you said, the defense played phenomenal, which I have not seen a Brian Kelly defense. This new coordinator they got, maybe this is the answer because it's the defense for me that really, really stepped up and played football. I think Klubnik was like 19 of 38. I mean, they were playing football. They were flying all around the field. Like you said, Perkins was used in the way he was supposed to be. Somebody finally gets it. And when it comes to Florida State and you're talking about, I think they executed better than anyone else. That's the difference. I think they didn't make any mistakes on offense or defense. Obviously I'm not talking about penalties or anything like that, but they executed the offense to the way it was supposed to. And I'm going to tell you, Castellanos, he is fast. I mean, he is electric. Like, don't blink because he's gone, and that's him. When he would drop back, he made decisive decisions to run or throw. It wasn't any question about it. So I think they executed better than anyone else in the country this week, and that's what I was impressed with.
I will say this real fast about FSU. Listen, before we crown them the national champions incoming, Gus Malzahn also got ran out of UCF running the same offense. This offense isn't the super secret weapon. There are defenses that can stop it, that have speed on the edges and good linebacker play and some sound corners. I think that FSU very good, but I think that they might run into a couple defenses this year and they might get buzzsawed. Now, the good thing about FSU this year, as opposed to last year, is they do have a pretty good defense. They were shutting down the run. They shut down the pass. So that might be the savior in some of these games where the offense isn't clicking on all cylinders.
Look, I think, and again, this is overreaction week one. This is anticipated, so people keep this in mind. The comment sections are going to be lit up. I already could tell because it's funny. Like people I see they like listen and they immediately run to the comment section, and we usually will catch ourselves or address it. It's just funny to watch. But I think, yes, the Gus Malzahn offense struggled at UCF for multiple reasons. KJ Jefferson is not good. And it was the RJ Harvey show, so it was not similar at all. 2 years prior to that offense was ran much better. Not near as much talent at UCF as they have at FSU. Secondly, it struggled in the red zone. Okay? And so that's left to be unknown. Again, FSU's not a powerhouse. They're beatable. I'm not like that's. We have to understand this. But I've seen this offense, and I've seen Norvell coach it, and I've seen it have success. There is a history here. We use everything that we talk about, and metrics, numbers, etc., pre-polls from history, from things that we know, from data points that we've seen. Why are you ignoring this one? This is where I think we have to, as guys that talk about it, like I'm a Gator fan. I hate FSU. I'm not looking forward to going back to work and talking to these doofuses, these mouth breathers that are going to come talk to me about how they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I got to deal with it now. After I've just talked smack for an entire year, they're going to be like this. After they said, I don't even watch football. I know they're going to come knocking on my door. It's fine. It is what it is. Kudos. Go get it. Go get it. You look good. And they should. They should be excited. They look like the FSU of 2 years ago that should have been a playoff team. Love that they weren't, but should have been a playoff team. And they got their revenge in the sweetest way because Bama was the team that booted them out of it 2 years ago.
I got one thing to say to Cody. You're right. Malzahn got run out of UCF, but don't forget he also took Auburn to a national title with Nick Marshall with this offense as well.
Yeah, I feel like, I think that, look, Cody loves to hate, and Cody's having a hard time swallowing this pill as a Florida fan. I can see that it's the bitterness. Cody, just because you're shorter in life, you can move the camera down, buddy. We look like we're T-Mobile here. We're raising the bar. Okay. Can you fix? You're freaking me out. There we go. Square that thing up, big fella.
I'm going to say this. I think I just complimented him. I just said when the offense isn't going, I think the defense can. I'm not ready to crown him and be the national champion after week 1, though. I mean, I've seen this.
No, there's nobody looks like that, like a dog. Nobody. Which is
I agree. I thought it was there was a lot of parity is what it looked like to me. And that's what's awesome. I thought there was a lot of parity in the way teams look. They had their weaknesses, they had their strengths. I just thought we executed better than anyone else.
Here's what's going to happen. After this week, I think John Mateer in Oklahoma steamroll Michigan. That's going to be the team that people talk about. That's going to be the team I love John Mateer. That's going to get it because it was already building. There's going to be no big games that really kind of shake you this weekend. That game will. And that'll be the new conversation in week 2. Watch.
But why? They're not that. Michigan wasn't that good last year. Their only claim to fame was the Ohio State
because
win.
I think they're going to steamroll. I think they're going to steamroll.
Okay. You steamroll a bad team. We steamrolled the mixed drinks this past weekend.
Oklahoma's good, buddy.
Not the same.
Oh yeah, I know. Oklahoma figured out the offense finally. I don't understand.
Oh, you mean they complete passes?
Why
this comment is what makes me want to just bash my head through a wall. The USF offensive line allowed 11 tackle for losses. Hey, quit reading Twitter headlines and go watch the game before you comment, okay? Because you look dumb. You look like you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. That's what it is. You're looking for clout. You got it. You got my attention. Congratulations. But that's not even close to true. That had nothing to do with the offensive line. More with play calling and screens. Nothing to do with the offensive line. And that's where, again, we talk on the show, Ty hates stats. Stat lines don't tell an entire story. You know what's ironic? I said it, I think, on the Saturday show because DJ went 15 for 18, 80% completion rate. And last year, what was his issue? He had a hard time completing balls, like 56%. And so everyone's like, oh, he only completed 56% of his passes. But you watch the game. What he brought to the game was a different level. I think he looked worse on Saturday than he did last week, but he had 80% completion. That numbers don't tell an entire story, right? And when I say worse,
you got to watch the game.
You got to watch the game. You got to feel it. You got to know what you're talking about.
A tackle for a loss only means that you were tackled behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's not a sack. It's not. Yeah, we ran the ball like an absolute freak. It was the blocking outside that was not even blocking. It was just poor play calling. Poor play.
I would just like to thank Billy Napier for not beating LIU by plus 57.5 because I would live bet LIU plus 57.5, and I was like, he's going to calm down a little bit. He's going to calm down.
He did.
And he calmed down. And I greatly appreciate it.
He didn't even want to put 55 up. He apologized for putting 55 up. So, yeah, you're good. I do agree with this. You stop Malzahn's running game and the whole offense collapse. That is one thing I do want to say. Like, let's pump the brakes. Like, let's have a little bit of pushback. Because I'm not here to just jump and just ride everybody's jockstrap either. We didn't see FSU truly be challenged. We never saw them have to answer the buck. The buck was only addressed at the beginning of the game and all preseason, right? That was the buck that they had to answer. They never really faced any true adversity throughout the game. So Thomas never had any stress. We saw Carson Beck face it, which we'll get into, and he struggled with it. FSU, and look, kudos to them. You never had to deal with it, so it's not a problem. Other teams are going to make you, you're going to face it. Clemson will make you face it. Miami will make you face it. And that's what we don't know yet. That's the unknown. And that's why everything is an overreaction. And that's where you can go and lean to the LSU because they had everything. They looked good. They had the wind beneath their wings. They had a little bit of adversity. They had some play calls not go their way. They were struggling. They were down. They had to find it with them to find a way to win. And that is what you want to see in a good football team. And FSU didn't have to because they just bullied Bama the whole time.
Where the game is won and lost, we love to talk about the quarterbacks and the running backs and wide receivers, and they're all fun. They get all the touchdowns, but the trenches is where the football game is won. I mean, and our offensive line dominated a very good Bama front. I mean, that's what I was impressed with. That was the only thing I took from that football game was I was impressed with the way the trenches were held.
Yeah,
and they were held pretty much perfect. I mean, and I don't even think we got sacked. I don't even know if we got sacked once. I mean, we only threw the ball 14 times. But
he's going to be hard to sack this year. And it'd be accounted as a sack because he's going to be so elusive. He'll be out of the pocket almost every time he gets tackled if he does. Because he did get tackled in the backfield. I saw it, but he was rolled out. So I don't know if they label that as a sack, but he did get tackled by the line a couple times.
If it was a run or that matters, but whatever.
He rolled out.
Anyway, they played great. Not a big deal.
Let's move on. Hugh, not so frozen here. I mean, they try. It felt like at first Baylor came out, put up 3, gets the ball back, is driving again. I go, here we go. Here come the Baylor Bears. Yeah, Hugh's gonna be frozen. But then all of a sudden, Jackson Arnold wasn't impressive to me. I think again, very similar that they didn't really face too much adversity. I know Auburn fans and Jake are probably gonna be pretty fired up. Again, they found a way, a good, tough, gritty game. So you have to give them some kudos on there. We had them ranked top 25 in our power rankings. Kudos to us for that in our computer. I felt like that was a good rating because on paper, this Auburn team should be pretty solid this year. I think they should give some fits, and I think they have the potential to really do some things. Keldrick Falk wasn't very loud. I don't feel like this defense was that great. You let Baylor kind of run all over you. Sawyer Robinson threw, I think, for 45 times. I felt like Baylor was kind of having their way. The offensive coordinator play calling on Baylor was kind of atrocious. So I think Auburn isn't basically saved just yet, but they found a little bit of an identity, something they struggled with last year. But Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, I feel like this offense is going to look very similar to this FSU team, where not nearly as much speed in that quarterback room, but we're going to dump it off quick to our speedy wide receivers and see what can happen here. At the time, it was probably one of the most exciting games of the week, but after the last 2 days, it definitely lost its sexiness because of how great the other games were. Cody, what were your thoughts on this game, big guy?
Yeah, Jackson Arnold, he also had some hiccups of the past with that fumble. That was a absolute terrible fumble. I don't know if the kid can complete a vertical pass is the problem with me. Again, when this super veer isn't veering it, when it's not dip, dive, and dodging, I don't think that they're going to have the defense to keep people from scoring on them. I mean, Baylor kind of threw it at will. They had some big time drops by the wide receivers that they probably should have won the game if they would have converted. I mean, the Baylor quarterback looked okay, but this, I mean, it's not like Auburn's defense looked like Ohio State's defense. They are susceptible to getting it kind of slung around the yard on. It's week 1. I know they can fix that, but I'm still holding my breath. I think Hugh Freeze can beat Bama, and that's probably the only thing that might save him this year if he makes it to that game.
I mean, I think he'll be fine after given what's going on in Alabama right now. I think that he bought him some time with that big win.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson Arnold, like you said, he ran the ball great, which is why Auburn honestly won the game. But like you said, his vertical passing with those 2 receivers that he has, they should be a better passing football team. I mean, he has 2 of the best in Singleton. And Singleton's kind of run this offense before with Georgia Tech. So, I mean, he is familiar with it. But, I think you have to get those guys involved more. Those are your best football players. And if you can't with the quarterback position, there's a problem. Defensive-wise, they have a lot of issues because Sawyer was just I think he threw for 400 some yards and 3 touchdowns.
419 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Or anything. Yeah. I mean, he was Auburn's got issues. I don't think they're going to be able to win in shootouts like this very often. Like you said, I need to see Jackson Arnold throw the ball down the field. I mean, that was his problem with Oklahoma. He couldn't complete passes, and Oklahoma couldn't win because he couldn't complete passes. Now they have a quarterback in John Mateer who can complete passes, so that's why I loved Oklahoma this year. But when it comes down to Auburn, they deserve to win. They played good game, but I'm not convinced that they're going to be very good overall throughout the season. I need to see more from them, and maybe they do develop a little bit more. I'm not sure, but I don't see it. And he didn't prove it in the last year, so I have no reason to believe it, So
Yeah,
That's
he
what
resorted
that's what I
back
think
to
Auburn.
kind of who he was when things got dicey. 11 for 17, 108 yards. He was their leading rusher with 167 yards. Look, I mean, if you want to run a Haynes King offense, that'll work. And so, look, we compliment Georgia Tech when they do it. So you can't necessarily criticize it, and even you, Ty, because this is your offense. You guys are the the birth makers of it.
But we can complete balls down the field.
Yeah,
That's the
Haynes
difference.
King can
Like,
complete a ball down the
I
field.
agree.
That's the
I
problem.
agree. Easy. Easy. I agree. I agree. Look, they've got Oklahoma A&M and Auburn Oklahoma A&M and Georgia 1, 2, 3. So they'll be 3-3 after October 11th, and then they have Mizzou, Arkansas, Kentucky, which could be fun. So there might be 3 losses right there, but after that, I mean, Mizzou will be interesting. Arkansas, like this style of offense, well, they'll be able to kind of stand their own with those teams. Again, I don't think they've got enough to get it done, but yeah.
You can call this a hot take or not. Jackson Arnold's not going to be the quarterback the entire season.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think Hugh wants to run that offense. I don't think you don't go get Eric Singleton to throw it to him 3 times, and you don't have Cam Coleman and the wide receiver.
And they have
that
a very
have to throw it
capable
one time.
Freshman quarterback.
I'm just reading these things in the chat. Like, I want to talk about this chat a little bit. It says Arnold basically plays the same way as Castellano. That is not even remotely close to true.
It is.
I love
if
you watch the game,
I was waiting for this because I was like, I can't
wait for Castellano throws the ball down the field. That's the difference.
Same person.
I
thought Thomas just changed outfits for a minute. It's the same person.
He threw a deep ball to Score White on the dot.
Who did? Was it Jackson or was it Thomas?
Castellano.
You sure?
That's going to fire me up because they were not even close to the same quarterback if you watch the football game. Not even close. It was the same offense.
Which game?
It's not the same person.
Who was it?
I'm done with you.
Well, I'm going to say this too. The gremlin of Jackson Arnold with ball security showed up its ugly head against Baylor with that freaking terrible fumble. I mean, I've never seen a athlete just totally have meltdowns. I mean, the kid has he's got something wrong upstairs. He needs a sports drink or something because he melts like ice on a ice in the Florida sun. I mean, it's gone.
Jackson does,
and yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I think that they have a quarterback in Deuce that is probably gonna take the reins week 4, 5, or 6. Jackson Arnold's not going to be the quarterback for Auburn the entire. Hey, can
I just get some off my chest real quick?
Yeah.
Jackson Arnold went 11 for 17 for 108 yards. Thomas Castellano went 9 for 14 for 150 yards. So let's pump the brakes.
You guys do realize this is the offense. This is the offense. Like, that's what people.
This is what I was so pumped because I knew that he was going to die on this hill because he hated Jackson Arnold, and I'm like, literally, Jackson Arnold is Thomas Castellano reincarnated. Like, that's all it was.
It's not even close.
It was the same
escapability that Castellanos has, but it's not. It's the different. Like, they run the ball a lot. That's what I told you what they were going to do. But the way that he throws the ball down the field is so much better than Jackson Arnold. It's insanity. All his balls were at least 10 to 15 yards down the field. I mean, that's what people don't understand. If you didn't watch the game, how do you not see that is a different style of quarterback than Arnold is?
No, I agree. I think
that's what
Arnold was averaging 10, and he averaged. I'll do the math. We'll do it real quick.
We threw 0 screens. 0. We didn't throw 1 screen.
In a world where everyone's
go watch all.
So you averaged 6. He averaged 16, and Arnold averaged 11.
And I'm fired up too because they want to say here and they want to say Alabama, that's not the same team. If they would have got beat by Alabama,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I think you won a good game.
I'm getting fired up.
You won a good game. You guys did great. But you basically are Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold could come in and play for FSU, and you guys you wouldn't even tell the difference.
Stop. If we had Jackson Arnold, we'd lost by 30. Stop it.
I think it would have been the same. You got the same production. No, you know what? You would have done better because he was better on the ground. What he lacked in arm strength, he gave you 167 on the ground. Thomas only gave you 78.
I'm done. Chat off.
Your mic's not even working anymore. You broke your mic.
I broke the mic. I did.
We got him.
I'm having fun.
We got him.
I'm enjoying the smoke, honestly.
We got him. We got him to break.
I love it.
All right, let's talk Tennessee.
did.
Then we got to talk Miami. That's where we got to go into. We're missing a Miami fan to be able to support their take here. But Tennessee was, look, I thought Syracuse would hold on. Tennessee wasn't anything spectacular, but they were everything I thought they would be. Our power rankings had them ranked 11th, and everyone was like, Tennessee's too high because Nico's gone. When I kind of said it, I said it last week. I go, Nico's not going to be missed. And I almost feel like they hit the lottery with Joey Aguilar not having old Nico drama. I'm going to leave going over to UCLA to lose 44-6 to the old Utah Utes. Okay? I mean, to leave to go play for UCLA, who hadn't scored over 7 points in the last 5 years. We're not going to get into that. But this Tennessee team, I think, is a well-coached, well-put-together football team by Josh Heupel. That's why he got an extension. I said it all week. I still thought Syracuse and Fran Brown were going to come in and bring a little bit more fight. Defensively, just gross. And that's where I'm not sold on this Tennessee. I think they looked good. They didn't look scary by any stretch. Joey Aguilar is suitable for this Tennessee offense. He'll do what Nico did, but not make the same mistakes that probably Nico did. They're going to have to win in other ways. When it's going to come down to play calling, coaching, and being able to maintain a defense, I still got them picked, I think, for 8 wins. I think there's some tough ones out there. I think Florida still handles them mightily. They didn't knock my socks off, but they didn't have to against Syracuse either. This Syracuse Fran Brown team took a step back without question. Took a massive step back. And I'm not even going to put it on the offense and the quarterback side. Defensively, they weren't, lights out last year, but they found a rhythm that did not carry over from the end of the year last year. Codes?
Yeah, I have to agree, but golly, Tennessee cannot stop the run. I mean, they were getting ran over with a Syracuse team that's not even that great of a running team. Yeah. And then obviously, yeah, they can score points, but I think Fran Brown is a couple years in the making for another good team. That's the thing with Syracuse is they had a pretty good team last year. They lost a lot of pieces. It's going to take them 2 years to come back and get everything right. They can speed it up a little bit with the transfer portal and stuff like that, but I think that Tennessee didn't show me anything that knocked my socks off. I mean, you should have won that game. You should have won it in the way you did. And like I said, there is a lot of questions of this Tennessee defense that really saved them last year. That was kind of when Nico was playing bad. They would just turn the ball over and over and over again. That defense, it would be 3 and out, and Nico would get another shot at it. Well, when you get 150 drives, you're going to get a couple of them, right? You know what I mean? And so I think that with this offense, I think that there's teams like Florida and other teams that we know how to shut it down. And I think they will shut it down. I think but Tennessee can definitely go and score points on some teams that maybe doesn't know how to shut it down, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. They said, what was the comment I liked up here? Hold on. Tommy Arnold. They said you're defending Tommy Arnold pretty hard there, Ty. So we appreciate you down on that. What were your thoughts, Ty, on the Tennessee game?
First of all, I love all the smoke. I like to joke around and have a good time. So that part I'm loving. I'm enjoying all this, actually. I get a little emotional and I enjoy it, and I throw my headset across the room, just like Hugh Freeze was doing during practice. But as it comes to Tennessee, I think that Tennessee is better off with Joey Aguilar than they are Nico. I can tell you that I don't think the team is as good, but it wouldn't shock me if they, like you said, I think they still win 8 or 9 games, and I think it's because I don't think they have as much talent as they did last year, but I still think that they are talented. And I bet Syracuse on the points this week because I literally thought that it would take a while for Tennessee's offense to kind of figure it out. And honestly, they looked better with Joey Aguilar than they ever did with Nico, which is kind of crazy to say in my opinion. I get it. They were playing Syracuse. I just thought it would be a little more sloppy than it was. They actually kind of impressed me a little bit. I didn't expect them to be that good. And after watching Nico at UCLA, they are way better off with Joey Aguilar because Nico, I mean, what was that? Like, You got paid millions to go over there. You were complaining you weren't getting paid enough at Tennessee. Maybe you should have been worried more about playing football and worried about your dollar signs because you ain't getting any in the NFL. I can tell you that. But now I get why you wanted all the money because you stink.
He had more
I
passing
think
yards than
Tennessee's
Tommy,
going to be a little better.
He had more point.
For the love of God.
I'm just kidding.
I can't. Now you guys.
He
Here
didn't.
we go.
He just threw the ball more, but he didn't have more passes.
That's even worse. And they were down 44-6. That's even worse.
Yeah. This guy stinks.
I think the thing with Tennessee is it's a typical Tennessee team. I think last year they kind of got bailed out by having a great running back and a great defense. I don't think that they necessarily have that this year. Actually, I know they don't have the defensive part this year. I think that Tennessee is going to be a team that 1 week puts up 75 points.
They'll ruin somebody's season.
And then the next week they're MIA. They're crickets.
7-8 wins, and I think 9 it could be possible because their schedule isn't that's severe. If I remember correctly. Let me take a look here at what it is. But yeah, I don't think it's so. They've got Georgia. I think they get clapped. They've got Bama. I think they can beat Bama. They got Oklahoma. I think they get clapped. They've got us. They get clapped. But everything else they can win. I mean, they've got Vanderbilt. They've got Arkansas. They've got Kentucky, and they got Mississippi State. It's an absolute.
Well, they can't stop the run. So circle that Vanderbilt game.
Oh, good point. Good point. Yeah, we can't sleep on that. So look, I mean, 9's very possible, 8's there too, but their schedule isn't going to. They've got to go 10-2 in my opinion to make a playoff. 9-3 with this schedule, I don't believe gets them where they want to go. Let's talk about this.
One thing I say.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say about you guys with your all schedule. I think you could be the first 4-loss team to make the playoff, which is kind of insane to say, but you have to beat one or two of those ranked teams. But as a Florida, looking at Florida's schedule, I believe that they could be a 4-loss team and get in. That's crazy, but it is
because it all comes down to how the losses look and how the wins are. You're 100% right. With where Miami and FSU sit now, right. You're 100% right that it's just dude, these guys played. It's potential that we could play damn near 8 of the 12 playoff teams. You know what I mean? 7 of the
you just can't lose a bad one. Yeah,
we can't go out there and lose 41-17. Yeah, that can't happen. If all the losses are a field goal and just right on the just nail biters, and then the wins are healthy wins, 100%. Yeah. Yes, you can say something, Cody. You don't have to ask. You have a mic in front of you. You don't have to ask every time. Can I say this? It's a part of the show. You're allowed to say something. Every time, can I say something? You literally have a mic in front of you to say something.
He'll mute your ass if you don't want you to say anything.
Did you ask if you? How wild is it that we can even say, "Watch out for Vandy"?
No, you're just saying that.
I'm just saying it's wild that they've been the doormat forever, and now they got a little juice behind them.
Can I say something?
I mean, of course you can say something. You got a microphone in front of you.
I love it. Couldn't say I'm done with this show. These guys suck. Let's talk about the last game last night, man.
For saying you guys aren't losing for.
We did an instant reaction on it, so we won't waste too much time. But Miami versus Notre Dame, great game, little instant classic in my opinion of how it shook up. But as I mentioned earlier, we saw Miami have to face some adversity. We saw a little bit of a bounce back. They're down 7-21. I felt pretty good. I was like, Notre Dame finding a little bit of a rhythm here. Money line. Irish, give it to me. Plus 600. I go, spit on me, baby. They come roaring back to tie this thing up. Did they tie it up? No, they never tied it up. Got it within 3, though. No, they did tie it up. Yeah. That was 24-24. Yeah. Ties it up. I'm like, here we go. Because me and Cody are dancing to the theme song. I was like, this is the best thing ever. And couldn't get it done. Cristobal and those guys found a way to get it done, which is massive. I don't think those things get talked about enough. Everyone's going to try to troll and talk about the choke, but Notre Dame's a well-coached football team. CJ Carr, man, that guy was a star in the making last night. Some people want to hate on him. You're a madman if you are. The guy's a true freshman and had just balls of steel. And it's gonna be fun to watch, I think, for years to come. And he was really, really fun to watch, in my opinion. Carson Beck looked great in the beginning. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is having fun. He's slinging it. But then all of a sudden, I was like, okay. we got a one-trick pony here. They're not running the ball that effectively. Malachi Toney is their guy. That's who he wants to throw it to.
Mm-hmm.
He had some big plays. Game gets close. Sphincter gets tight. That's where Carson Beck started to come out. So that's going to be something to watch for this Miami team. I feel like they tried to kind of carry a nice natural flow to it. Defensively, it's what they were last year. Defensive line, exceptional. It can't carry you, though. It's not to the point where it's just going to maul everybody. Eventually, it got wore down. It doesn't seem to be a very deep defensive line because there's only every now and then they kind of got to the backfield and were able to disrupt Carr. And again, the play calling for Notre Dame wasn't the greatest earlier on either. But if there's some speed out there, I think FSU. I think FSU is going to steamroll Miami. I think with the speed that is out there from the running backs and wide receiver, I don't know who on Miami is going to be able to sustain that. And with the way that they were flying around, I think if the moment Beck starts seeing a little bit of stars and ghost, I think things can get a little wobbly for him. I still think he lacks a little bit of that swagger. He had it early. It was false swagger. Everyone's got it in the first quarter. You're not losing the game in the first quarter. When the game got tight, sphincter got tight. Cody? I love
sometimes the losses are on the players and sometimes the losses are on the coaches. This one is on the offensive coordinator. Price, the running back, the speed back they should have kept feeding that kid the ball. They have one of the best backs in college football and love, and they didn't want to give him the ball for some reason. And they kept throwing screens and trying to hit a tight end that nobody knows about that can't catch the ball. Like, what are we doing here? If Notre Dame would have just ran the ball, they beat Miami by 2 touchdowns. Miami's secondary, very susceptible to getting beat. We saw it. Carr was slicing and dicing them when they actually were throwing vertical passes instead of bubble screens. And the defensive line is very good. The offensive line for Miami is very good. I don't think that carries you to where you want to go, though. I know people say that, it's about the trenches. It's about the trenches. I get that, but you gotta also be able to score points, and you have to be able to stop people. Bain is, as advertised, very, very good as a pass rusher. Defensively, run stopping the ball, I don't think they have it. Lightfoot, another good guy in the pass pro or in the pass defense.
Yeah, their offensive line was stout.
I don't think it's necessarily. I think that they're going to get beat because they're not going to be able to stop the run. Linebacker play, very, very sus at times, letting that tight end that nobody even knows about eat him up over and over. If he would have caught the ball more instead of dropping it every other play, they probably win also with the bad play calling. I think that Miami is beatable, but they did win the game. They did sell out that stadium. It was ruckus in there for the one time a year, and I got to give them their flowers when they did. They did put a knife in there when it needed to be done the most.
What win was more impressive, you guys think? FSU's over Bama's or Miami over Notre Dame?
Oh, it had to be FSU. I mean, FSU's a 13.5-point dog in that football game. I mean, this was a 2.5-point spread. I mean, they expected it kind of to be what it was, I feel like. And it was dominated by Florida State. It wasn't just like down the stretch. Like, that game was pretty much over in the fourth quarter. That was even with them making the special teams mistake.
Yeah, I have to agree on that also. I think Miami is a two win less team than they were last year. I mean, you don't realize how
more impressive, Florida over LSU or Miami over Notre Dame?
Oh, Florida was more impressive.
It wasn't.
Florida was more impressive.
It was pretty
You guys did. I mean, you beat the brakes
like
off.
we joke, but I mean, 89 yards of total offense. I mean, they didn't get over the 50, but like once. I mean, it was pretty impressive. I mean,
well, if I sit back and I look at this Miami game, like everyone knows that I'm not a Carson Beck fan, and I stick to my guns. I'm still not a huge fan. Like, a lot of his plays, like Some of those are lucky. At the end, when he threw it to Malachi, like you said, Malachi Tony.
Bro, Buddy had a
there was
lot of hopes and prayer throws last night, for sure.
Yeah, there was a hope and prayer there, and he ran it down.
Still
and
think he
caught it.
threw
It was
for
good
more yards
coverage,
than Thomas
but it was good.
Castellano. But yeah, I agree. A lot of hopes and prayers. The one thing that I think saved Miami a lot last year was the Cam Ward's mobility. I mean, Beck was back there hanging on for his life a couple of times.
Whoa.
I mean,
The freshman, the linebacker.
FSU linebacker got shot last night.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
He's in critical condition.
Keith Pritchard.
Oh,
yeah.
That's tough.
Ethan Pritchard.
Pray
Ethan.
for that. This game could have been a lot different too in the Notre Dame Miami game. At the end of the half, when he throws that prayer and he makes maybe one of the best catches of the season, he jumps up, one-hands it, and brings it in with 12 seconds left. If he don't touch that ball, it's picked, and it might go the other way because he's on full sprint. And it could have been a whole different situation. But he got bailed out. I think his receivers bailed him out a lot. I'm not ready. I think Notre Dame could have won the game, but like you said, I got sick of seeing 6 screen passes to the outside. I mean, me and you talked about it before, like you're getting blown up by the DN on a screen. They've seen this once or twice. I thought they should have let Carr play a little bit more because he definitely he looked relaxed and he was out there slinging it. I think they should have ran the ball more. Sometimes game flow doesn't allow you to do that. They were down 14 going into the fourth, but I still thought they could have ran the ball a little bit more. I still think Notre Dame's a well-coached team. I thought they should have just let loose Carr. I understand easing him in the game, but they're late. I would have just let him play football because he looks very, very relaxed when you just kind of give him the ball. I thought he looked pretty good, honestly, personally.
Who's that? Carr?
CJ Carr.
Yeah, he looked great. And look, it's week 1, man. A lot of things are gonna get adjusted and changed. This was a shell. I mean, a shell for everybody. You learn a lot about yourself in these games and who you are and what you want to be. And you go back and watch the film and go, hey, this worked really, really well. Or hey, this wasn't like you find about leaks and cracks that you were unaware of or may have not seen because when you were in that world and those camps, it's hard to be able to see your weaknesses because you're living in it. So a lot of things were exposed and a lot of things will be addressed. So these teams we saw this week won't be the same teams in 4 weeks. And that's what's so great about this game and so great about our week 1 overreaction. But all in all, I think it was a healthy week and healthy takes.
Right.
Yeah, another great thing.
Right now.
Go ahead, Cody.
Right now, I'd like to ask, do you feel Miami is better, same, or worse than last year?
I think they're a little better because I don't think they have to rely on Cam Ward to score a million, if that makes sense.
They
Cam
felt
Ward
more
had
complete.
Correct. I'm not saying I don't think like Carson Beck's as good as Cam Ward, but they can't rely on that because Cam Ward carried them a lot and had to score a lot of points to win football games.
But I don't think they're
I
better.
don't know if that's going to be the case this year. I don't it's hard to say. Like,
Cam
I don't
Ward
know. It's
elevated them a lot. I think that the run game was much better last year. Defensively, I think they're a smidge better, but it was really bad. But I think offensively, they felt like they had more juice behind them. Too early, I think, to truly give a full synopsis of it. But I think that I think if Miami played that Notre Dame team last night, if last year's Notre Dame team played that, or Miami played that Notre Dame team, I think they win by double digits.
Yeah.
So worse. They're worse than last year. I have them
right
as
now.
worse
I
than
think
last
so.
year.
Right now, I think so. Yeah.
I think they're a little worse. I would say a little worse. I don't think because I think Cam Ward was a better player.
I don't think enough things were
if they're
tested.
in a bad spot.
Yeah, I think Cam Ward did a lot, but even still, I don't think they ran the. I mean, what's his face? Fletcher only averaged like 3.5. I think they ran the ball a lot better last year too.
Well, you know what's great about college football now is when you lose week 1, you're not dead. Like we'd be talking, like Alabama would be dead. Complete dead.
Bama's dead. Bama's dead. But
Bama's the new band.
Clemson's not dead.
I'm just saying all these teams aren't dead as in, like as your fan base, you would have said as Alabama, if you were an Alabama fan, you're like, oh, we got destroyed week 1. But like truthfully, like you're not dead at any stretch, like I don't think they're as good. I said at the beginning of the season, you can go back and look at our clips, but I also like you're not dead. That's all I'm saying. Like if you're there, like you still have hope, I guess. Like as a fan, you still have a little bit of hope. That's all I'm saying. Every team's still live. That's my point. Like you're not dead.
Yeah.
Every team stole.
Well, boys, great show. Great Monday mashup. First time we've actually got to do it live, and that's Sunday late at night. I wish every week it was like this, where we had a little Monday morning we can get after it. Maybe in a couple years when we're rock and roll, we can be. You guys' support allows us to do that. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Cody the Prof held it down all week, and Cowboy Ty fired up after a big W. We'll be live tonight at 8:05 with Champs Corner, boys and girls. Should be a great one to get Stephen Harris's thoughts and perspective of Florida's game, what he likes, what he didn't like. Then, of course, on Wednesday live at 8:35, we'll be rock and rolling. And don't miss our Thursday college football show. We preview everything for week 2, give you some more fantastic hot takes, some more analysis of those games headed into it. And then, of course, on Saturday, we'll have watch parties throughout the day, mostly for Florida, call-in shows, and all great things. Love y'all boys for hanging out with us on this beautiful Monday morning. Hope you guys are having yourself a nice little holiday weekend. Be good till next time. Peace and love, baby.